On this week's episode of Gambling with Good Juju, the crew discuss Juice's recent bad beats. The June budgetary gambling event gets determined. Breezy delves into the value of set odds boosts. And Juice reviews Oddsjam's definitely not way too expensive gambling tools. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit us up with questions or comments at Good Juju Bets on the socials.
All right, let's talk bad beats.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the Denver Nuggets lost to the Miami Heat in Game 2, so I'm out.
Ooh, you are out.
I'm
still
out.
Alive. Kurt's looking good.
Yeah, $10 free bet down the drain.
We were all wrong, though, because all of us said the Nuggets were going to win both the first two.
Yeah, totally. Didn't happen, did it? Not the worst beat I've had recently, though. So you guys may remember I was super excited to go take the family to Churchill Downs and do a little horse race betting. And unfortunately, they've shut the track down because they can't figure out why the horses are dying. So 12 horses died last month.
12 horses in 1 month?
Yeah. And they can't figure out what's going on. They think it's the track or something crazy. So they decided to just, obviously the Kentucky Derby's over, so let's just shut down all the races. So now I'm just going to a wedding.
I have several comments on this. One, I can guess what's happening on the racetrack. Cheating. Drugs.
Right.
Trainers who push their horses until they die.
It almost sounded like a Housewives episode until that last one, but yeah, yes.
I mean, we sit around and wonder what's
think,
going on with all these horses dying.
I don't think anybody actually wonders that.
While the only person who actually wins in horse racing continually gets banned from horse racing.
Big fat cheater, yeah.
For cheating. So that is a bad beat.
That is a bad beat, yeah.
That is brutal. I will also add that the other part of this to consider is our reaction to your family going and do this. We were genuinely happy for you.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like, yeah, man, hope your niece or whatever doesn't listen to this because you aren't caring about the wedding anymore.
Actually, I did like do a little map check and see if I could reroute our trip to another racehorse place.
I am thinking of this as opportunity because now when they reopen that horse track, guess what? You've got it in your blood now that you want to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
I could make a trip down to Louisville. It's not that long of a drive. Now I want to go listen to a bunch of bands and hang out on the dirt and gamble on horse races.
Hey, $12. It's worth the drive.
It's worth the drive. That is a really bad beat, though.
Yeah. So them's the breaks. So if you guys have any other ideas to like gamble with my small children and family, I'm all ears.
Well, your trip's ruined. It's over.
Don't go.
Cancel it, right?
Don't go.
Yeah, well, we had something come up, niece, and the horse.
The horses died.
Kind of on the way.
The horses died. Sorry.
We can't possibly make it.
Have you considered moving the wedding to a date where the horses aren't dying?
Right. They've confirmed they're going to like restart the races in September, so maybe we could just push it back a few months. Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I am bummed. You brought up the Nuggets as another bad beat. I'm bummed that I'm looking on the downside of my 4-1 prediction because I put a real full unit on that bet.
On the exact?
Yeah, you put a $10 free bet. I put a $50 unit on it.
Well, sayonara. I mean, they're not going to win. The Miami Heat aren't going to lose to in Miami, right?
It could.
I
don't see it happening.
Not with Mike Malone, which I only know because Kurt told me on last week's episode, not because of Mike Malone.
And then he tweeted it out and like, you got some reaction.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, somebody commented on it. It had like 1,000 views. Like, you're going viral, dog.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's Mike Malone.
Right. It's like you put out like a plus 20 unit banger card and you get 2 views. And you badmouth the coach of the Nuggets and it's like, here it comes, America.
Right. Need to rethink my Twitter strategy.
No. Not back to just bad mouthing people.
You just need to add your play to the post bad mouthing people.
Oh.
Right.
So, hey, you're a moron, Mike Malone. Check out my play of the day.
Yeah, by the way, Gossman under 19 and a half outs.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started on that guy.
More bad beats. We don't have to go down that path.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about our June betting.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
RJ, you had an idea on what we're going to do in the month of June.
I have a few. Like, let's just kind of spitball here. So, fun thing I did, went over to the shout out Kellogg Learning Center, future sponsor of the show, most likely. I took the wife over there and me at least hit some balls. And, I remembered about like the little chip in the putt thing. So it's like, maybe we should go over there and do a little chip in the putt competition for the, operating budget. Pete, I know you've played golf before, right?
As a heads up to Kurt, RJ and I have gone golfing once this year. He had a good round. I did not. I do golf. I think my game would be okay on the chip and putt because I got all my new clubs that I got were longer distance clubs. So I could hang.
Yeah.
I would totally do that.
As would I. I don't chip. I just putt. So I'm.
I mean, you've done it before, right? Like, you know what it is.
Yeah, I don't chip.
Yeah. I mean,
Ever.
it's like 40
You
yards.
putt off of the
I'll putt from
tee?
30 yards out.
Oh, this
bro.
is great. Let's do it.
When's the last time you played golf with me? Like
Let me
5 years ago?
Let me update the audience real quick on what course we're talking about. So these are like 100-yard holes where you still tee it up. Then for people of reasonable skills, you hit some form of a wedge to the green.
Yeah.
And then you're either chipping or putting based on where your drive, I'm using air quotes, with that wedge goes.
Yeah.
Kurt, you can't putt from the tee.
Let him try.
If that's what you want to do, then you're definitely contributing to this budget this month, and that is absolutely the game I want to play.
That's it?
But
Okay.
I want to hear your other options.
All right. So here's a few more. All right. So we were talking about poker a lot. So we could just play poker one night, like after we record, and like do that, and we all get some poker chips and bang it out in 20, 30 minutes. I think that would be a fun thing to do sometime. Also, I don't know how practical this one is, but I've been thinking about going over to Cartsville and racing some go-karts.
That
Okay.
is good.
Poker,
idea.
back burner.
Yeah.
Wintertime maybe activity.
Okay, I like it.
Something not
I like
warm
it.
weather.
Okay.
Cartsville versus chip and putt. Cartsville, I obviously like this idea.
Yeah.
But I did just hear what Kurt said he was going to do on a chip and putt course.
Right,
So my
that's-
vote, I think, is going chip and putt here.
Yeah. And for the audience, that's what you call an advantage play.
I'm trying to get plus EV on this. So let's vote on this. I'm voting chip and putt.
I'm voting chip and putt.
All right, let's do it. Chip and putt.
All right,
We
we're
gotta
going to the
schedule a
chip and
time.
putt course.
We probably should just like attach the GoPros to our heads or something, right?
We will attach our GoPros and walk around a chip and putt course and record ourselves taking phenomenal shots.
Is it really 100 yards? I thought it was like 30 yards. It's like
It is between 30 and 100.
Yeah,
The
they're
longest
all-
holes are 100 and their shortest holes are like 40 or whatever.
And how many holes?
Nine.
What?
Yeah, 9
I
holes.
thought it was like 3.
No, it's 9 holes.
Isn't it the practice thing?
You already said you were doing it. You said you were putting off the tee. Now this is what we're doing.
Oh my god! Should we just all use just putters? Handicap us all?
Yes.
They
Absolutely.
would get so mad at us for doing that.
No, I agreed to the chip and putt. You can do whatever you want, Kurt.
Yeah,
I just
I will.
encourage
I
you to
will.
putt off the tee.
I will.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
This is going to be good. All right. So we're settled. So in the month of June, we are doing the chip and putt.
Yeah, between family trips.
Winner doesn't pay. Losers are footing the budget for June.
Yeah. Deal.
Okay.
Okay, we're done there. Now let's talk about May because we're in June. June went pretty well. I'm going to give a quick victory lap here, and I'm going to be real subtle about it.
Okay.
And here's why. I was up $6 in the month of May as my net performance.
Yeah.
I said at the start of May, after April, if I come out profitable in May, that'll make 11 of the last 12 months profitable, and I'm going to victory lap on you guys.
That's huge.
It doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great, but I'm taking this mini moment to just say thank you, Reds and
9 or 8 plus runs. I don't remember what it was.
The actual
It
last
was
bet?
the last bet of the month, and it was like a plus 260 boost or something on BetMGM that hit and took me to profitable. My last
That's
bet of the
tight.
month.
Shout out MGM. Their boosts never hit, so that's even doubly as awesome.
Yeah. And I ended up doing okay. I mean, like MLB was fine, and NHL I did really well, and
Yeah.
other things did really well. The promos were not kind to me in the month of May, and we're actually going to get to that as one of our 2 major topics here today. But before we get to that, how do you guys feel about the month?
I did poorly.
I did awful.
I lost on a lot of MLB steamed up favorites. It didn't work out well. Well, you live and you learn. You take notes and you move on with your life. And
you actually have been trialing something now in the month of June that you're going to get into later in the episode as well.
Good tease. Yeah. So I did sign up for the free trial of Oddsjam. So I'm going to walk you guys through that. Because, it's neat and it's not and it's great and it isn't. And kind of, I think, yeah. Well, we'll get into it.
Good tease.
Great tease. My month of May was awful. I mean, didn't I just come in here last week and talk about how I was
Hear ye.
I'm up 40 units in the month of May in baseball,
Yeah,
and
that's-
somehow down 37 units for the month.
Holy crap. What happened?
Boost
Oh.
and NBA.
Yeah. We got to kick the habit on that one.
It sunk my battleship.
Yep. I'm over it. I'm over NBA. I did bet on the game tomorrow.
What'd you bet?
Under.
Okay.
Shout out Brad Powers.
I haven't bet anything.
Sorry
yet.
for leaking your play, Brad. But
You can come on the show and discuss it.
great, yeah, you can roast me on the show.
It'd be fantastic.
We'll tag you in our teaser clip we make based on that.
Yeah, after the game is done.
I was trying to look up on YouTube to look at what the performance of our various shorts we've started getting into posting. I don't know what the exact numbers are because I keep getting too distracted to actually look it up. But the Jolly versus the Books clip about you crushing the books in May, Kurt, is the most viewed, most liked, most
That's hilarious.
acknowledged short that we've posted so far. And now you're showing up here 1 week later to tell us not only is it all gone,
He's a fraud.
but he's lost a ton on top of it.
No. Listen,
He's not a fraud, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm not. These aren't my NBA plays.
Right.
These are my tails, and these are boosts that I'm playing recommended by the promos.
So Jolly MLB still performing well?
Yes.
Okay.
So I know you didn't ask. A little unsolicited advice. Maybe just stop betting on the NBA and just focus on your own plays.
Can we go back to a quick conversation we had on Twitter between me, you, and add your name betting guy who we know from the hood, who I don't know if we're allowed to say his name or not, so I'm not going to. Where you were complaining about our tout who stopped giving out picks.
Oh, yeah.
And then he started
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
I don't know how anyone could possibly see they have an advantage here. I'll give you my leans, but I don't recommend anything necessarily.
Yeah.
Guess what? I was trying to say to you guys in that conversation that is a fairly intelligent standpoint to take at this point in the season.
Yeah, like why bet on it?
At this point, the season is done except for the conclusion. You got your futures, you got whatever, you write it out.
Yeah.
So
Tell the draft.
at the end of the day, I have barely bet on the NBA.
Yeah.
It's helped me by not betting a lot on the NBA. And overall, outside of the promos, the general betting's gone pretty well as a result.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. I wish I could say the same, but I got kicked in the butt.
There's no hear ye today.
I mean, Kurt, our whole conversation last week was around your MLB plays.
Right.
That is where you're strong. Focus there, right?
Yeah.
So
I
at the-
know. I just look on my Twitter feed and it's like,
Right. So how to
play of the day,
Right.
play of the day. And I'm like, well, I gotta.
Might as well sprinkle.
And then you
it.
got all the promos. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay, I got to bet the Superstar boost.
The interesting thing is-
because it's plus 8% EV, and I got to bet the FanDuel boost because it's 13% EV, and it's like,
And that's another part of the conversation that hold that thought for 1 second, because when we talk about promos, I think it's very interesting to look at the mix of your promo betting versus your
Yeah.
everything else. And that's why I always say I've been pretty open that I'm a $50 bettor. I could be more than a $50 bettor, but that is the cap on the FanDuel promos, and that is my benchmark for which I try to balance my promo and non-promo gambling. So when we talk about this, I'll talk about the percentage of wagers that I place that come via
Sweet.
FanDuel promos versus everything else. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. And like, you know, I brought this up a couple weeks ago, like the mix of FanDuel or promo bets versus your regular bets. And like, quite frankly, like, I know I have been staying afloat because of the promo bets a lot of months, but you seem to not maybe need that. So
Right. Like you're washing out your own MLB performance,
Yes.
chasing these ridiculous games that no one really knows what's going to happen.
yeah, and
Shout
since
out
you-
Max Struess, though.
Yeah, shout out Max Struess. And so, yeah, whatever, 2.5 or whatever. I don't know. I bet on Max Struess twice the other night.
I bet over 12.5 points plus rebounds, or over 11.5, and he had 12 after the first quarter.
I was drunk off information on Oddsjam like the first night.
But did you bet him in game one where he had 0 points? Because that's what I did.
No, I didn't get
Okay.
that pick
Yeah.
given
That's
to
how
me.
it works.
Right. So
Right.
anyway, I guess, yeah, shout out Kurt for being really good at MLB.
Right. I think that the net takeaway here is when you come on this week and say, oh, no, everything's bad, but like you're a reliable tout still. So your performance is doing pretty darn well. It's those darn promos.
Those darn promos. Dun, dun, dun.
So let's talk about this,
FanDuel
guys.
Wizard is cooking.
I am the single biggest proponent of taking advantage of the FanDuel promos in particular. And to give you an example of the difference here, let's set the stage here for a minute. First of all, I got to give a shout out to Pickett. They had a recent update. They now allow you to custom aggregate time periods when you filter on bets. For a person who's worked in the field of research and in database management, manipulation, and all that for as many years as I have, the Pickett database has finally gotten to the point where I'm like, yes, that is what I can use actionably and reliably. There's still some kinks in terms of the freezing that takes place on Pickett, but it's working a massive database of information. And having worked in that field, it is really, really hard to get it to run the way you want it to all the time. So with that being said, shout out Pickett. Love what you're doing. Audience, if you're not using them and you're not tracking your bets with some other method, I highly recommend you download them, link your book, take advantage of the service that's being offered. It really helps you in tracking your bets. So because of this, I've been able to track the performance of FanDuel promos, BetMGM promos, and DK promos since the start of September with their tagging service. Now, I had other means I was using of tracking bets, but it's got too complicated. So I'm going to look at September through May to try and understand just how important these are in my betting portfolio.
neat.
Right?
God bless you for doing this for such a
Yeah.
long period of time.
Yeah, I thought we were just going to look at just May.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
That's great.
No.
You went September to May?
I have it broken out
Yeah, that's
by
beautiful.
month and an aggregate.
Oh my gosh. All right. This
so
is great.
let's start here. May was rough. One other thing to understand for anyone who's not familiar in the field of research, this is a sample. This is me. I am not perfect in getting all the boosts. I'm not perfect in playing all the exact ones that are recommended. This is my sampling, but it feels like in the month of May, this was pretty consistent across gamblers with regards to performance. I played 23 FanDuel promos. I went 6 and 17.
Oh,
I lost 5 units.
wow.
That is only the third month in the 9 months tracked where I lost money on FanDuel promos. The other 2 were in September and November. So I had a really long run.
Yeah.
You did.
So let's get that out of the way first. FanDuel promos, not good in the month of May. We all kind of agree to that, but they have a very long track record of success.
Yeah. And to clarify, you're not talking about Dinger Tuesday.
No. So let me give you a definition real quick of what this is. This is looking exclusively at what I would call non-alternate boosts, where it's the fixed odd rate boost, and then anything where you get a percentage increase on a wager off of that line, but you don't get to pick any alternatives. So let's say, for example, they're boosting yes first run inning, but not boosting yes or no. In that scenario, it would count because I don't have any choice. I can only bet the yes. Same for any of the FanDuel boosts that come through. Those are all fixed odd boosts. The places where I find these are on FanDuel, BetMGM, and DK in the state of Illinois. We also have Barstool, promo ban there. Caesars, promo ban there. Bet Rivers, not really any good boosts I ever see. And PointsBet, never any good boosts. So we're focusing in on those fixed odds, FanDuel, BetMGM, and DK promos. We good?
Mm-hmm. Dialed.
All right. So FanDuel promos, we were down 5 units in the month of May off of my sample. BetMGM promos, I went 1 and 6. Those are all really long odds for the most part on those BetMGM ones. So the net impact was I was down 1.5 units. So not too bad there. And then over on DK, I had a total of 16 promos for a minus 1.5 units on them as well.
And that's a consistent unit size across all the books.
That is a consistent unit size on returns.
Yeah.
So that is always marked off in my unit size. I can't always get down a consistent unit size on the promos.
Yeah. One question. So like MGM's kind of rad that they let you use the free bets. Do those count?
This is anything. I don't ever use free bets on
the boost?
promo
Okay.
related plays.
Gotcha.
I only use free bets on personal plays. That's my own way of keeping a track
Yep.
and everything.
Gotcha.
And keeping myself under control. So, right? Because I use the free bets on whatever dumb stuff I want to do.
Yeah.
That's just how I do it.
Pick a number.
Right. So anyways, across all 3 books, set, fixed, odds boosts were down in May. We have not seen that in any other month since I started tracking this in September,
Not a single month.
where all 3 books were down on those fixed rate odds boosts in the same month.
Oh boy.
Additionally, with FanDuel, as I mentioned, 6 out of their 9 units have been, or 6 out of the 9 months, they were positive in units. We've won a total, or my sample, I've won a total of 40 units over that time period. That's including 5 units lost. So up through the month of April, I was up 45 units in 8 months.
Yeah. That's the part of my life cycle where I just remember I'm no good at betting on sports. That's awesome.
It is accounted for 23% of my total profit since September.
23% just to FanDuel.
Yes. So, additionally, so if they're accounting for 23% of the growth, they're only accounting for 8% of my total wagers.
Oh, neat.
So the other thing you want to factor in there is this isn't a true contribution to growth because I haven't excluded. It's totally nerdy. I'm not going to go down that route.
Getting deep here.
But 23% just represents my total profit my total profit on FanDuel divided by my total profit overall. The 8% of wagers placed is only 8% of the wagers. So that's huge. That difference in terms of the percent of my profit relative to my percent of my wagers. On DK, we have a different situation where totally still profitable. We've been profitable 5 of the last 9 months. It's only accounted for 5% of my total wagers placed. I've placed less wagers on DK than I have on FanDuel, partially because I'm much more aggressive on the FanDuel ones. I love the FanDuel boost. It's my favorite bet in all of sports gambling. The DK boosts also come with smaller limits. So you'll get limited to 10, 20, 25, 15, whatever they decide the algorithm wants to do to us that day. So I don't get as much action down. But still, it represents 5% of my wagers, and it's represented 5% of my units won. So for DK perspective,
yeah, interesting.
Still positive. It's just you're not going to be able to suck out as much as you can from FanDuel.
Yeah.
Because of those limits. And the boosts aren't seemingly as good on average as we get from FanDuel.
And you're only counting the ones that you don't get to build yourself, right?
Yeah. So nothing that, if I have to make a decision, the credit goes to whoever has to make the decision.
That's kind of the bread and butter for DraftKings promotional strategy. Promotional bet strategies like the same game, parlay, refund stuff. So,
true, but I have gotten 169 wagers down on this.
I'm shocked to hear that.
So it's not that. 288 for FanDuel, 169 for DraftKings.
Oh, that's wild. Okay, this is neat.
Can we get a cumulative units up?
Between the 2 sites, I'm up 48 units out of a total of 177 since September.
And what about MGM included in that?
So let's talk about MGM. I have questions. I've played 55 boosts in September. One, they don't have nearly as many that are deemed plus EV.
Yeah.
So that's one reason. 2, there's not as many accounts out there doing the math
So
that I
usually
trust.
bad. Yeah.
3, I'm not positive the ones who are doing the math on these are
Right.
getting it right.
Right.
September to May, I'm down 5 units in total.
Oh, wow.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't play MGM Boost. I'm
Right.
just saying it's the only promo type here that's negative. The others aren't close.
Big sample size.
6 out of the 9 months, they've been negative. Now, the reason that is, and it's still so close, is because, like I was saying, those MGM boosts pay out
Long odds.
much longer
Yeah.
odds. So you're going to have it work out that way. It also only represents 2% of wagers placed.
Yeah. So take it or leave it.
So I kind of looked at them and I was like, man, I wonder 2 things. One, is there something going on here that makes these not as valuable as others? Is it just my sample size? I only have a sample size of 55 wagers there.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one to preach sample size, sample size, sample size. That's still pretty small in terms of sample size. Nothing compared to 288 like we have for
Yeah.
FanDuel. So it could be some of that. We also don't have the same attention paid to these boosts, which
Yeah.
means we don't have the same quantity of Twitter accounts that are grading and evaluating them. And I can't overstate how easily these boosts can move from plus
Yes.
EV to minus EV based on the smallest little factor, and how complicated it can be to devig some of these, especially Lions boosts, where they get kind of complicated with multiple different factors
Yeah. The correlation.
playing into
Yeah.
it. When you factor all that in, assuming that a plus 5% boost truly is 5% because the first person we've seen on Twitter says it is not very likely to be true.
Yeah.
And what I think is happening is the FanDuel boosts and the DK boosts are playing to massive audiences. Very large, very established accounts are grading them. They're being heavily checked and heavily being
Scrutinized.
critiqued. Yeah,
Yeah.
scrutinized. And it's having an impact. I really think that I don't trust whether or not these MGM promos are truly plus EV or not.
There's a lot of stuff going on with the MGM ones, right? So, one, they release a crap ton of them for different states. And it seems obvious they're doing that so they balance out the action because they don't want to lose. So it'll be like, the star on this team and the over versus the star on that team and the under.
How about tonight with 15 different guys that hit a home run for every state? Did you see that?
Yeah. I didn't
There were
realize what was going on.
Yeah, every state had its own boost today.
They're also quick to reduce the odds, which the other guys don't do.
Right.
So I'm sure out of that 58 bet sample size, you got the worst odds on some of them too.
Well, now you're checking my ego here.
Well, maybe. I mean, it's possible.
I'm pretty diligent. If that
Yeah.
line moves, I don't
Yeah.
play it.
Okay. All right.
I'm not
just
chasing
hypothesizing.
it.
Just hypothesizing.
I don't chase those plays because I don't care about those plays outside of the fact that they're plus
Yeah.
EV.
I totally emotionally broke up with them in general.
MGM boost?
Yeah.
So you were feeling the same strain?
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's like, first of all, like you said, there's only 2 guys on Twitter that calculate this. I'm not going to do it myself. Right? That beats the whole
Yep.
purpose. So I got to trust these guys. Half the time they argue about it. There's 45 different boosts, and I got to find which one is for Illinois. It's so not practical.
I agree. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll say this. I excluded June, and the MGM promos are 2 for 2 for me, and I'm now barely
Profitable.
profitable.
Shout out the Golden Knights.
So that's how quickly those can move. I went 2-0 on some long shot plays on the MGM odds in 1 week, and boom, now it's profitable again.
And no coincidence, they were both Golden Knight boosts, right?
One was Golden Knights,
Okay.
one was something else.
I
So-
put a free bet on the Golden Knights one.
Dylan sees.
Big J's Plays tweeted out today that MGM boosts have hit 4 in a row.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. Oh, that's correction in the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right. So that's another reason to point out that 55 sample, boom, you add 2 more wagers into the equation and suddenly it's positive.
Yeah. And they are all long shots.
Right. At the end of the day, I would play all of them.
Yeah.
Not all the recommended. I would play all audience.
Yeah.
I would play all the recommended boosts.
Yeah. Shout out the Degen
Yep.
I'm following him a lot lately.
Yeah, he does good with
He-
the MGMs.
My favorite is like he's like there's 16 boosts and they're all negative. He's like,
Yeah.
thanks for wasting my time,
Yeah.
MGM.
Yeah.
So him and Boost Raider does them too, right?
Boost Raider does them.
So Boost Raider's been
good.
the guy who I've been tailing. Maybe I should ask him this question because I'd be interested to see what their results look like. And I'm not sure if they share or not, but that'd be good to know.
They're like one of the only sports books that loses money too, I think.
MGM?
Yeah, they had a loss.
How could they not with as many free bets as they give us?
That's crazy,
It's
right?
unbelievable. I can't lose on MGM.
So okay, good point. Like I've got this fear in the back of my throat that like FanDuel is going to pull the plug any day now, right?
That would be devastating.
Yeah, like they really got shifty twice now with everybody's favorites, the Dinger Tuesday.
Yeah.
So it's not really playable.
That's a totally different thing, though.
I know, but
yeah,
it's just like a shade away from taking these boosts down to $5.
They have cut the same game parlay free bet
Right.
thing down to $5.
They've cut everything but these boosts,
Yeah, it's coming. I agree with you.
or it's coming for us. Like maybe it's not coming for everybody, right?
Yeah, right.
I
Or
don't-
or maybe they get smarter with their plays, right? Maybe instead of them being 13% EV, they're 2%. 1%.
I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this.
They're gonna. I
don't know.
They're gonna put the hammer down.
We don't want to just operate under the assumption we're good at sports betting.
The equation on how I gamble changes dramatically if FanDuel does away with their promos.
Of course.
Yeah.
And if MGM does away with their free bets strategy and FanDuel does away with their boost bets strategy, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, we all are.
So they're gonna kill the boost, but they're gonna increase their profit, their profit boost that they hand out. So like the 30%, and then they're gonna limit you to $5 or $10.
Yeah.
Right. So they're gonna give you a bunch of 30%ers.
I think you're right.
And then hey, you can only bet $5-10.
Yeah.
So have fun with that plus 1,100. Right.
Well, then I guess the question is, if we are going to lose these promos and they're going to get stricter and stricter over time, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And to answer that question, RJ, you've been looking into something for us
good segue.
that you're wanting to bring up.
Yeah, I teased earlier. I thought you were going to say we're just going to start playing roulette. So, Oddsjam. All right. I didn't have a good May, and I'm just bored with how we're doing it, right? So, of course, it's like a new month. Let's try something new. So, I signed up for the Oddsjam's free trial June 1st.
How long do you get it for?
7 days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost over. I had done it once before, but it was like absolutely overwhelming. And on top of everything else, like I just didn't really use it, right? Have either of you tried it?
I have logged on to their free site. I've never paid for a trial.
Yeah, it's totally
or
pointless.
anything like that.
The free site's pointless, right? Have
Right.
you tried
I
the-
agree.
the
Every
full-blown-
time someone tells me something about Oddsjam and I'm like, oh, I'll go look at it. And then I go and I'm like, I can't figure out any of
Yeah,
this.
none of
What's
this
going on
works.
here?
Yeah, it's neat. You know, they calculate their own odds, like a true no-vig odds, and show you the ones that have a couple of percentage of EV pretty easily. And over the course of a day, it will tell you this 350 times if you want, right? So it's like, okay, you got to just shut the faucet off eventually.
Can you change it in any way to limit that?
You absolutely can. It's a little funky. Like there's all these filters and like, you know, I spent the first day just trying to figure that out. So every day, like, okay, it's been 5-6 days. Every day I try to figure out something new. Like how does this tool work, right?
So real quick here, you also work in database manipulation and management.
Yeah,
So it
I
sounds
do,
like we're
yeah.
talking about a different database
Yeah.
that you're working on figuring out right now.
Yeah, and it's not intuitive, and it's like, you know, if people weren't in analytics, like heaven help them figuring this out.
Really?
I mean, you know, it is pretty neat, and it is intuitive. I shouldn't say that. When I tried it a year ago, I didn't know nearly as much as I do now about betting on sports, and I still feel a little overwhelmed now. But I think after 7 days, like you can get the hang of it for sure. And I'm kind of looking at you like, you're going to love this thing. So the gist of it is like I teased, like, right, okay, so it's like there's basically an unlimited amount of plus EV plays every single day at 2% if you want them. Now, some of it's weird. Like there's a lot of variance in batters. It's like the first day I'm just like, plus EV, plus EV, plus EV, batter. Wait a minute, I've just been on 70 batters to not get a hit.
Yes. Okay.
Or 70 batters to get 2 hits. And so it's like, it's bonkers.
Yes.
So it's like every day I get a little smarter. So I quit doing that. But yeah, there's a crap ton of stuff to bet on. Now, with that, I did spend about a year or so really nurturing my MGM account. Speaking of MGM, shout out MGM, future sponsor of the show. Because I was, they're a little bit of a soft book. And so I was really trying to nurture that relationship so like I could get full bets down on that site. 48 hours into this, I'm like hella limited on MGM now.
Oh, no.
So it's like that absolutely stings, right? And it's like I didn't even win any money, right? That's the craziest part. But it's just all the CLV and like, hitting it at the right time. Like every, there's 50,000 people that probably use Oddsjam and hits the book at the same time. Like, so they know what you're doing. Like, I got to believe they got it tracked. So now I'm like, I can't even get a bet down on MG after just a couple of days. Totally stinks. Barstool, I was already like, I was trying to nurture that book. I'm like limited down to nothing on Barstool again now too. And they're the softest, right? So most of these bets every day are Barstool bets.
I figured it would be Combi. Barstool or Bet River.
Yeah, I mean,
for the hits,
pick,
right?
I don't turn them both on, but yeah, it's the
Right.
same. It's the same odds. Yeah, especially for the hits. Like basically, you bet on any hitter if you want to either get a hit or not, and it's plus EV on that.
Yeah,
book.
it is because their odds are crazy.
Yeah, so it's cool. They email you. That's neat. Like so. I get 1,000 emails a day about plus EV bets. And like, it goes fast. All the stuff we thought we knew about how fast this market moves, we didn't know. I had a thing on my card today and it was like plus 190. And before I could hit the button to bet on it, it was like minus 149. So it's like this stuff goes really quick.
Wow.
It is really eye-opening. And just the experience of doing it, I'd certainly recommend you guys try it.
Can you give us some tips on day 7 or 6, whatever you're on now,
Yeah.
that would help us day 1?
Yeah. So, obviously the coolest thing is the plus EV. Like that's why I signed up, right? I would try to get a little bit more sophisticated in thinking through what you want to bet on before you just like, you're going to show up. It's going to be like, here's 100 things to bet on. So like thinking through that before you actually do it. Like I burnt a whole day and it was absolutely garbage. Like, it didn't go. And just for the record, like I'm obviously not making like real bets on this stuff just to try it out, right? So it's just like a couple dollars anyway.
So you got limited betting, small
A
amounts.
couple dollars?
So it's like it's totally not practical in that regard. Now FanDuel has not limited me, and there is a lot of action available on FanDuel. Caesars and PointsBet, like it's not happening. Like they're too quick. Even if I get an alert about Caesars or PointsBet, it's like boom, it's done.
So that's really concerning to me. 2 days in, that's pointless. If I'm going to go
Right.
in and start gambling on Oddsjam's plus EV plays, and I'm going to get limited on Bet MGM with the amount of like free bets they give me and everything else,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Right. So
But I'm intrigued by this. So let me ask you a couple
Yeah.
quick questions.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
ask you a question. I've been disappointed with BetStamp's timeliness.
Yeah.
How quickly their odds update, and with the markets that they actually show. There are a lot of what I would believe common markets that don't get shown.
Yeah.
NHL, regular time, 3-way betting.
yeah, like how do they only have one book mapped to that?
Why?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that, and they're slow. Is there value to the Oddsjam service beyond the plus EV plays that I should consider?
Yeah. So, okay. To your point, the market tools board is pretty rad. It's easy to maneuver by either market or game, if that makes sense. So, and they have absolutely everything mapped, like every inning, right? All that weird stuff. That's a little overwhelming at first, but like you figure it out, right?
Right.
And like, it's like batter strikeouts versus pitcher strikeouts. Like, there's 100 things. What am I looking for? But then like, today, Dinger Tuesday, like I was just poking around and it's like, okay, pull up the home runs. And then you like can browse the games at the home run level. That's kind of neat. Certainly not something worth paying for. Like, and full disclosure, I signed up for this thing so I could play your card. Because I'm like, I need a tool if I'm going to play 27 MLB things every day per Jolly St. Vic. And then I got it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's just like, here's 1,000 plus EV bets. Like I don't need Kurt's 27 plays.
You definitely don't. Can I ask you, going back to the Dinner
Yeah.
Tuesday, did they show you which home runs on FanDuel were plus EV?
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like,
by percentage?
so how it works is like there's a board where you can just see plus EV bets, right?
Okay. I've seen that
Yeah.
in demos.
Yep. Like plus EV home run plays, not maybe so much, but like I browsed through a few games and saw where FanDuel had the best line.
Okay.
So like calculating the plus EV on those is like a little wonky because they're primarily one-way markets, right?
Right.
That's how I do it on BetStamp. I just go if like I've got say a free bet on BetMGM that's about to expire and I don't know what to do with it. I'll go to BetStamp, pull up the baseball action, and go look to see what bet, regardless of what it is, BetMGM has the best odds on.
Yeah.
And when I see one that's that,
Boom,
I'll just play that.
play it. Yeah. So that's cool. Market Tools is pretty neat. Like I only actually dove into that today, mostly because of the Dinger Tuesday thing. But it really was neat to navigate that. Not worth paying for. Absolutely not. There's no way.
Do you know what the cost is?
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
$200 a month.
and that's like for the lowest price thing.
Yeah, that's for
This
the lowest.
isn't a real thing.
Right. So, and then it's like, okay, now let's get into the cons. I say it's crazy expensive. And then it's like, you want to see like the bet board, like the actual sports book board. You got to pay extra to see that. Like, isn't that absolutely crazy?
For live odds, right?
Not even live, like see the live board, like see the tickers move.
Yes.
In the whole market.
Yes.
You don't get to do that in Oddsjam at the $200 a month package. It's
But
that
they
crazy.
have it
They
at a
have it.
higher-
It's like, okay, another $100 a month. You can have that. You want the live odds, the in-game odds? They're like, oh, 100 another. So it's like, there's got to be people spending $1,000 a month on this thing to get all the tools. Like, I don't see it. It's not practical. Now, you can, arbitrage is a big thing on there. That's kind of neat. Again, like, I'm so worried about getting limited. Like, I'm freaked out about betting like $88 on something or whatever, right? Like an odd amount. So that's not really practical either to get like a couple of percentage of profit.
Are you up?
Like, no. But like maybe today, like probably, right? It's like so close.
So explain to me why you think we should trial this. Because right now I'm out. I don't want it.
Yeah, you would hate it. You should try it. I think you would love it because like you're already looking at all this data. Just go over there and like, oh, here's some more data, and like,
Sure.
It's going to show you a bunch of things, and it really like understanding the market is important to me, and I feel like I understand the market so much more now, just after a few days of doing this. And I already thought I got it dialed right, but this stuff is moving way faster than I thought.
I'm going to trial it. And then I want to hang out with you
Oh yeah,
and have you explain to me
Navigate
why
some
you
stuff.
think. No, I want to know
Yeah.
more about the market
Oh,
movement
sure.
that you were impressed by.
yeah.
Because I feel like I would look at it and it would be lighting up red and green all over the place like crazy, and that's what I would expect.
Yeah, you don't get to see that. That's an extra $100.
See, so we need to sit down and
Yeah.
talk through it.
Right. Like books release the wrong numbers all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like I'll get an alert and it's like, oh, plus 27%. It's like, what? Let me look into this.
And by the time you do, it's gone, right?
And like I pull it up, it's like, oh yeah, look at that. That's plus 190.
No, yeah, but see, you don't get it because it moves too fast.
Absolutely.
Or you do get it, and that's going to limit you because you caught this one really random little thing that isn't the intent of what they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
So I know things.
Yep. That's a no for him. You should try it.
I'll love it.
Don't get limited.
Yeah, no kidding.
You rely on promos as much as I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, we just gassed him up because he doesn't.
But he plays at the limits.
Yeah.
You're a big dog.
Big dog.
Big dog.
Ruff, 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 ruff.
All right.
It's been neat. If I hit a home run today and it's like, ooh, I won every bet. I didn't. But if that would happen, it'd be like, it's not something I'm obviously going to pay for.
I'm shocked by that sticker price.
Yeah, it's
If
kinda
there was
crazy.
anything here that I thought you were going to say $50 a month, and I was going to be like, that's too much.
Yeah.
$200 for the
Yeah.
basic.
For the basic. It's crazy.
As much as I like to think that at a $50 wager level, I'm some sort of reasonable bettor,
Yeah.
I'm really at the low end. Really at the low end, it feels like.
Yeah,
I don't,
totally.
I don't know what the percentage of gamers are, but gamblers are at different price points, but
Yeah.
that they have such a market for $200 a month. I mean, that's 4 units a month for me.
I would love to talk to somebody who uses it.
I bet we could get one of those
and-
guys
and,
on.
and see how it goes.
I do have like
I don't want somebody who's like a shill for them, right?
oh, that's everybody is a shill for them that uses it though. Like they're
I mean,
begging me to be a shill.
there's got to be somebody who's like, yeah, I bought it for $200, and
Yeah.
you know, this is what I pay for, and this is how I do.
I think we just talked to him, Kurt.
7 days is not a big enough sample size for me.
I mean, it's
I need
almost
somebody.
it's almost like I want to do it for a month, but there's just no way. I'm too much of a tightwad.
I need somebody who's like, yeah, I play 100 plays a day or whatever at $20 a play, and this is
that's
how
the
I
thing.
did.
That's the thing. Like we're talking about a 2% return a day.
Yeah.
So you got to churn that much cash through your account every day for 2% times 30 days to make it worth paying for it, right?
Audience,
Which Kurt likes to do.
if anyone out there has experience with Oddsjam and has an unbiased voice, hit us up.
That'd be awesome.
We'll reach out. My big recommendation for the day is stick with the promos.
Long-term vision, right?
Don't get lost in what happened in May. Don't reach out to the accounts who do the courtesy of grading them for you and make derogatory comments at them.
I hate those guys.
Because for 1 month or 1 week, they didn't hit.
Jason Tatum boosts always miss.
So we'll focus in on that.
Yeah, good juju.
Stick with the promos. The growth is coming. We've seen the down. We can expect it to come back as long as they keep giving it to us. Oddsjam's an interesting tool. I don't recommend at lower level betting limits investing in it long term, but hey, check them out for 7 days and we'll see what they do.
Let us know what you think. Yeah.
And also, if I might, before we sign off here real quick, we're investing a little bit of time and energy into our YouTube page moving forward.
Like and subscribe.
So give us a like, subscribe on YouTube at Good Juju Bets. And if you're not already, check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and give us a follow on the podcast forum you use most as well.
Yeah, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. And like and review and send us a screenshot and I'll send you some stickers.
Shout out Jimmy. Bought a shirt.
Oh, man. Yeah, shout out Jimmy. Appreciate you supporting us. And I promise next week, we're recording next week?
One more recording, then we're off.
One more recording this week, then we're taking our little summer break. I'll shout out Jimmy at the beginning of the show. There's no way he got this far.
I can always splice it in the beginning.
Shout out Jimmy! With power
Jimmy! Everyone have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk again soon.
Adios.
See ya.